Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. And for tonight, I will be reviewing Impact Wrestling. Alright, so tonight's Impact Wrestling was a fallout from Slammiversary, and it opened up with an Honor No More promo, or I should say segment. So basically, it starts off with Eddie Edwards apologizing for interrupting the weekly scheduled programming. And he says that Slammiversary was on Sunday, yet the celebration continues. He says that everybody loves that TNA nostalgia. And that there's a reason this company left Nashville. They wanted to achieve something bigger and better than they could ever achieve in Nashville. He says, you're looking at Honor No More, looking at the one bright spot, the one thing that should be cheered and applauded, yet people doing the most celebration are the Impact Originals. He's saying, as far as they're concerned, Impact Originals did not win the match, just like Honor No More did not lose. And then he turns and looks at PCO and he says, PCO did not lose. It seems like they're kind of doing the separation of PCO and Honor No More, which would certainly be interesting because I think PCO is a very valuable member of that team. And Mike Bennett was the cameraman during out this. All right. So then Vincent said that he didn't bring PCO back to life for Impact, but he brought it back for Honor No More. And he's basically talking about how they need to talk about Tracy Brooks attacking Maria, or Lito trying to save the day, or the unofficial referee, Earl Hebner, who was the hero of the night. If you guys recall, the referee in that match got blinded and taken out. So Earl Hebner had a referee shirt under his regular shirt, I guess, and they counted the pin for the Impact Originals here. And he said that Scott D'Amore was sitting on commentary, which he was, with a smile on his face, almost like they planned the whole thing. Then Taven interjects and says it was almost like a setup. And he doesn't understand what they're celebrating. 20 years of what? Mediocrity? He says that's all Impact has been until Honor No More walked in. And he says they have put money in Scott D'Amore's pocket. And he says, Taven goes on to say that people want to blame him, but failed to realize that without him, Ring of Honor would have folded in 2019. And that if it wasn't for him, he gave Ring of Honor life. He gave Ring of Honor his life. He didn't kill Ring of Honor. He saved Impact Wrestling. So very interesting. I feel bad for Matt Taven that some people blame him for the demise of Ring of Honor. Then they're interrupted by America's Most Wanted, the Wildcat Chris Harris and James Storm, who appeared at Slammiversary after the Good Brothers and Briscoes match. So basically, James Storm reintroduces himself in the Wildcat Chris Harris. He was basically talking about how, like, in his day and age, you had to claw and scratch and punch your way to the top and earn the respect of your peers and fans. He says, at a time where wrestlers looked like wrestlers, not bums. The problem is that if they were good, they would have taken their loss and learned from it. And he says that Honor No More sucks. And then Kenny King fires back, basically trying to say that James Storm is useless because he's nothing more than a washed-up drunk cowboy. And Chris Harris is useless too because he's a domesticated pussycat, according to Kenny King. Chris Harris fires back and says that those are hurtful words, but he was going to make Kenny King cry harder than he did on The Bachelorette. Kenny King being on The Bachelorette, eliminating himself because he missed his daughter. So, ouch. He says that Chris Harris says that he is proud of everything America's Most Wanted accomplished in their 20 years in the ring, 20 years of hard work, dedication, being the backbone of TNA. He proceeds to name some of their America's Most Wanted's greatest rivals, such as with Triple X, Team Canada, and Youth Church. And Chris Harris says that him and James Storm came to TNA together, and they will go out together. But they met a couple of friends at Slammiversary, that being the Good Brothers. And so then a brawl breaks out. Mike Bennett and Matt Taven stalk Chris Harris because he doesn't want to get involved because he made a promise to his wife and his family that he wouldn't wrestle anymore. Then the Briscoes also get involved in this brawl, and it's all hell is breaking loose. And then in the end, the Good Brothers hit the Magic Killer to Vincent. So after this was actually supposed to be an Alisha and Giselle segment, but because after that we get a follow-up to the segment, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the follow-up, and then I'll jump into the Alisha and Giselle segment. So basically the follow-up backstage was that Taven asked Scott what just happened, and Maria says the Slammiversary was a fluke. So Scott Moore says that at Against All Odds, which is next week on Friday, it's going to be a 10-man tag player to be Honor No More versus the Good Brothers, the Briscoes, and James Storm. But that tonight, it's going to be Eddie Edwards, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven versus the Briscoes and James Storm in the main event. Then we get Alisha Edwards in the Giselle Shaw segment. And Giselle Shaw kind of brings her a cupcake. And Alicia's kind of wondering why she didn't help her with Masha. And Giselle Shaw reiterates the fact that she says she's not afraid of Masha. She just didn't want anything to do with Masha. And Alicia's like, you're supposed to be my coach. What the hell? But Giselle makes it quick to say that she was never her partner. They just had once, and that was it. And Alicia says that she's going to go tag with Lady Frost and find a bunch of knockouts that don't like Giselle Shaw. And Giselle Shaw says she's destined for tag team coach. She just needs to find the perfect partner. So speaking of Lady Frost tweeting out today that she requested her release from Impact Wrestling. I hate to see her go. I actually really enjoyed the pairing between her and Giselle Shaw. I think they were a perfect tag team, honestly. Like, they were polar opposites. So I really, really liked that tag team, and it's sad to see Lady Frost go because she was actually a really good knockout. I really liked Lady Frost. I was impressed with Lady Frost from the first time I saw her. All right. So then we get Chelsea Green versus Mia Yim, which is a good match. Chelsea Green accompanied to the ring by Deonna Purrazzo, who was on commentary. So this is a good match. I like that Chelsea Green bounced Mia on the announce table in front of Deonna, who was just like clapping. And then out of nowhere, like, Mickie James comes out. And she attacks Deonna because like Deonna shoved Mia from the top turnbuckle. And so Mickie James gets involved. And that distraction allows for Mia Yim to be victorious. And then Deonna and Mia Yim walk away. So I think I know where this is going. I know this is in WWE, but I always like to use this reference every time this happens anywhere, whether it be in AEW or even Impact. But since Mickie James came out to save Mia Yim, I would not be surprised if we get ourselves a tag team match player. Holla! It's going to be Mickie James and Mia Yim versus Deonna and Chelsea Green. I can see that happening, honestly. Hasn't officially been announced, but I could definitely see it happening. All right, so then we get a backstage segment with the Influence. Ooh, poor Madison Rayne got a bilateral double nasal fracture. That looks bad. Like, it looks bad. Madison kind of saying that it's Tenille's fault for not paying attention. And then Giselle Shaw approaches them and says she could fill in, and says that Tenille reminds her that they beat her. And Giselle Shaw makes it a point to say that they probably beat her because she wasn't with the right team. Madison Rayne suggests that Giselle Shaw should take care of Rosemary or Taya, especially since the Influence isn't getting the rematch anytime soon. So honestly, now that I think about it, Tenille Dashwood and Giselle Shaw would make an interesting pairing. They would. So then we have a tag team match. It's Zicky Dice and Johnny Swinger versus Sharkboy and Bhpuinder Gunhar. This was a fun little match. I mean, Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice, before their match started, if you look closely, they were playing rock, paper, scissors. That is hilarious. Zicky Dice then gives Sharkboy a thumb to the eye. And commentary makes note of the fact that Bhpuinder Gunhar is 5-0 in singles competition, which he is. They also make note that Gunhar has the ability to work with almost anybody, which is true. He had an amazing tag team match with W. Morrissey. It's a shame that team came to an end because W. Morrissey left, but Hey, they made a great team, just like Sharkboy and Bhpuinder Gunhar. At one point, Sharkboy, he bites Johnny Swinger, and Johnny Swinger goes to the outside, and he's like all rubbing himself in the back. Just like, he is so hilarious together. Sharkboy pulls Zicky Dice's hair, and then he bites him. And then Johnny Swinger gets taken out by a sling blade by Gujjar. And oh my god, this match is just Johnny Swinger made this match hilarious. But in the end, Gujjar hits Zicky Dice with the gargoyle spear, which is a cool finisher if you ask me, and he ends up winning the match alongside Sharkboy. So oh my god. Like, I just enjoy seeing Johnny Swinger in action. It's always making me laugh. Always. Like I said, he's one of the undisputed kings of comedy in wrestling. One. The other two being Orange Cassidy and R-Truth. So then after this, unfortunately for Gujjar and Sharkboy, they are attacked by Joe Doering and Diener, who are trying to call out Josh Alexander. And so they basically attack him and they call Josh Alexander out. Josh Alexander comes out and Diener tells him it's not so much what he needs to say, but what he wants Josh to feel. And he's because like against all odds, it's gonna be Josh Alexander versus Joe Doering for the Impact title. And what's gonna be an interesting bout because like the last time they fought, Joe Doering beat Josh Alexander, but he beat him by DQ. And I understood that finish because it was like you want to protect both men. You want to have Joe Doering beat Josh Alexander without pinning him. You want to have, you could even done it vice versa. You could have had Josh Alexander beat Joe Doering without pinning him. This way it protects both men. And it did. Unfortunately, at against all odds, I think Joe Doring's finally going to get pinned because I don't see Josh Alexander losing. I don't. So back to the segment. Gino is basically trying to say that Joe Doering is undefeated and that he can see the fear in Josh's eyes, and that he says that Josh feels afraid and he wants Josh to embrace the fear, to embrace the fact that the last time he faced Doering, he lost, to embrace the fact that Josh cannot beat Doering. So I'm very, very curious to see how Josh Alexander is going to defeat Joe Doering in their bout. And then Diener says that they're finally going to accomplish their mission and bring the title home to Violent by Design. And then Josh begins to question why Eric Young didn't come on here and say this to his face. And Diener says that's none of Josh's business. And Josh says it is his business because it involves the title. And he begins to doubt that Eric Young put up Violent by Design up to this. Basically, Doering attacks Josh with a clothesline. Security comes out. Diener tries to, Josh dumps Doering and Diener to the outside. And as Doering has a security guard, Diener tries to pull him off. And then this leads into Josh Alexander versus Diener, which Josh Alexander dominated Diener, as he should, since he needs to look strong because he is a champion. Diener did get some offense in. My first spot in this match was the chest chop and the back and forth chest chops. Josh doing 4 German suplexes to Diener, and then he attempts a 5th one, but Diener breaks free, and then he gives him a 5th one. And of course, Josh Alexander wins, but he wins by submission by making Diener tap out to the ankle lock. Then we get a Frankie Kazarian segment, who basically says that Slammiversary was one of the greatest nights of his life. He was with his friends, by his side. His wife and son were at ringside, and he came to Impact to answer a challenge that's been 20 years in the making. And he basically says that next week it's going to be him versus Chris Sabin, to figure out who is to prove that he is the future, and the future looks good. So the last time they were having this match, it was interrupted by Honor No More. Tasha Steelz. Oh, and then we get a quick Jordynne Grace promo where she did basically is just talking about the Queen of the Mountain match and winning the Knockouts title. Then Tasha Steelz, we get a Tasha Steelz promo, and she's basically talking about how she's gonna see Jordynne Grace at Against All Odds. if she can get past Savannah Evans. And then we get Sami Callihan versus Jack Price, so this is basically a squash match. Of course, Sami Callihan wins. Then afterwards, Moose comes out, attacks him with the spear, hits him with the steel chair, and then power bombs him through a table. Then he goes to the back, looking for Scott D'Amore. He can't find Scott D'Amore. He does find Gail Kim, who offers to give him another match against Moose, and it's going to be a Raven's Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. It's a match I've never seen before, so I'm really excited to see what this looks like. So, I've never heard of this match, but I'm very, very curious. I cannot wait to see it. Then we had a quick backstage segment with America's Most Wanted. The Good Brothers and the Briscoes. The gist of this segment was that James Storm didn't want Chris Harris out there because he made a promise to his family that he would no longer wrestle. And James Storm tells Chris Harris to keep his promise and go home. In the main event, it's Honor No More, Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett versus the Briscoes and James Storm. Good main event match. Really good. Of course, Honor No More distracting the referee so that they can constantly take advantage of the situation. At the end, they had OGK do the proton pack to Mark Briscoe, which allowed Honor No More to be victorious. However, at the end, Honor No More beat down the Briscoes and James Storm, and then Kenny King, the Good Brothers all came down. All hell was breaking loose. Taven bought out a chair, and what they did to Heath and Rhino before, they put that chair around Mark Briscoe's leg. Not before, but before Eddie Edwards did the Tiger Driver to him. And then Vincent and Taven hit his leg with the steel chair. Then Edwards hit it, and then Vincent hit it again. So I guess we gotta wait and see what's gonna be the end result of that for Mark Briscoe. But with that being said, this was a great post show. This is how you do an after pay-per-view show. But with that being said, there's not really one thing I disliked about tonight's show. So with that, I'd have to give this a Ty Dillinger a perfect 10. Great post show. And thank you guys all so much for watching, and for your continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after AEW Rampage. Bye.